All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're tailoring this specifically for you, the educators, building the 2026 classroom. Now, today we're looking at something you probably use literally every single day. But what if I told you this seemingly mundane tool can actually be used to paint art or even code video games? Yeah, you heard me right. We're talking about the world of spreadsheets, but definitely not as you know them. We're going to unlock what is essentially the ultimate logic engine.
First things first, we've got to demolish an old myth. We need to stop thinking of these as just strict accounting tools. You know, if you picture a spreadsheet and immediately think of some dusty ledger or a boring tax form, let's just leave that in the past. Because when we shift our perspective and start seeing it as a dynamic logic engine, well, a massive world of creative potential completely opens up.
So as you can see, we're leaving those tax forms way behind. We are entering one of the absolute most versatile digital workspaces available today. I mean, this isn't just about adding up columns of currency anymore. We're talking about an engine capable of powering vibrant pixel art, balancing out complex role-playing game stats, and even driving real scientific discovery. It's a total game changer. This is the new reality of the grid.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover demolishing the ledger myth, the architecture of the grid, engaging every student archetype, evaluating the software landscape, and finally, a blended curriculum pathway.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, the architecture of the grid. Now, at its macro level, what we call the ledger is really just the overarching digital evolution of paper records. It's the whole document, that infinite sheet of digital paper. But the actual magic, the real logic engine, that happens when we zoom in way past that macro level.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how this grid is actually constructed. You've got these vertical pillars of data, the columns, which, as you know, are always identified by letters. Then you've got the horizontal slices of data, the rows, identified by numbers. And right where those intersect, that's where you get cells. A cell, like B2 for example, is that critical intersection. It's a single container that holds specific data. Honestly, think of it kind of like a single pixel on a screen, or maybe a single block in a building game. It sits there, isolated, just waiting for your instructions.
And here is where things get really fun. The true power of this architecture is what we call the ripple effect. This happens in 3 distinct, rapid-fire steps when you start connecting those single cells together. First up, you have your input data. Second, you connect that data through a formula wire, which is essentially just telling the logic engine what to do with it. And third, bam! The engine performs an instantaneous recalculation and updates visuals across the entire document.
Let's actually picture that ripple effect in action. The moment you change a single input to, say, the number 42, the magic just happens. Those formula wires instantly update related calculations to, let's say, 2580. But it totally doesn't stop at just numbers. It raises the bars on your graph, and it even triggers conditional formatting to completely change the colors on your grid. So one single change ripples out and transforms the entire workspace.
Which brings us to Section 3, engaging every student archetype.
We all know a one-size-fits-all approach rarely works in the classroom, right? Well, instead of doing that, this logic engine perfectly adapts to 5 distinct student archetypes. We're looking at the planner, the artist, the scientist, the organizer, and the gamer. Every single one of these students can absolutely find a home in the grid.
Let's break that down a bit, because this is where the classroom application truly shines. For your planners, they can track their allowances to reach personal goals. Your scientists, they can track plant growth and instantly render these amazing colorful graphs. The organizer can build interactive checklists that dynamically change color when a task is marked complete. But get this, look at the artist and the gamer. The artist can actually resize those cells into tiny squares and use conditional formatting to paint digital pixel art using nothing but numbers. Meanwhile, the gamer can balance RPG character stats, loot drops, and even intricate in-game economy systems. Yes, you can literally build a working game economy right inside a spreadsheet. It's wild, but this tool speaks all of their unique languages perfectly.
All right, let's jump into Section 4, evaluating the software landscape.
To start, you really need to understand the fundamental user interface difference that exists out there in the software world. On one side, you have the infinite grid. This is your classic, rigid, endless ledger that basically locks all your data into a single, continuous structure. On the flip side, you've got the blank canvas. This is a much more flexible, presentation-driven approach where distinct tables and graphics can just be moved freely around the screen. So if we evaluate the current landscape, Microsoft Excel definitely remains the industry giant. It offers this unmatched depth for complex data. It is, without a doubt, the original gold standard.
Google Sheets, meanwhile, is totally built for the web and completely dominates when it comes to real-time collaboration. Then you have LibreOffice Calc, which provides a super powerful, independent, open-source option for offline access, totally free of any subscription fees. And finally, Apple Numbers utilizes that blank canvas approach we just mentioned, prioritizing really elegant visual design and open layout flexibility for Mac and iPad hardware.
This leads us right into Section 5, a blended curriculum pathway. We highly recommend starting your student's journey with Google Sheets, mainly because of its zero-friction environment. It requires no installation, it's completely free for educational use, and it offers flawless universal access on those school-issued Chromebooks. But honestly, the most important part is its game-changing live collaboration. As a teacher, you can actually sit back and watch group projects unfold live. You can literally see multiple students' cursors buzzing around the screen as they solve problems together in real time.
Ultimately, though, the main goal of the 2026 classroom is career readiness. Modern offices just expect a high baseline of spreadsheet proficiency these days, meaning students really must eventually graduate to Microsoft Excel. You can kind of think of this as an exciting professional upgrade for them. To guarantee your students are genuinely career ready, they need to master that heavy-duty logic that Excel offers. We're talking about unlocking complex technical workflows, pivot tables, and macros that are used across global corporate environments everywhere.
So here's the pathway to actually get them there. In middle school, which is phase 1, you build the foundations of cell architecture and teamwork, right in the frictionless cloud of Google Sheets. Then, as they transition to early high school for phase 2, they execute this cross-platform shift, transferring those basic logic principles from the cloud directly to desktop environments. And finally, in late high school's phase 3, the focus totally shifts to mastery in Excel. Here, students are executing heavy-duty data projects to essentially guarantee their vocational readiness before they even graduate.
By embracing this exact structure, moving from the cloud right to the desktop, scaling up from simple formulas to complex macros, you unlock a truly powerful new digital workspace that goes so far beyond basic accounting. As the source material beautifully puts it, equip them with the grid, teach them the logic, and watch what they create. It really is that simple and honestly, that profound.
The mechanics are clear, that ripple effect is undeniably powerful, and your pathway is set. But look, mastering the tool is really only step 1. The real magic? That happens when you finally hand over the keys to them. So I'll leave you with this. What world will your students build tomorrow? Dive into the source materials to start planning out your very first grid project. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.